I was raised in a family with 8 children, and my dad was an alcoholic, and my mom was a perfect codependent wife and mother. My husband, his mom and dad used to come over all the time for dinner and everything and stuff like that, and slowly I started feeling convicted around them. I just felt like it was dirty. I was just like, so I would start saying things like off the wall, like, I think I'll go to church one of these days. Not really wanting to go to church, thank you very much, but I just thought I would say. I called him Dad. He came over, but before he phoned and he said, I'm coming on over, and I said, okay, so ran to the back room and opened up the trunk, and I took out the Bible and cleaned it off, took the dust off, and threw it on my little desk, wanting him to think I was reading it, right? And anyway, he came over, and he said, you know, Marlene, he said, you've been yapping about you want to go to church. I said, well, yeah, I think I should want to go. And he said, well, look, we'll babysit for you and you can go to church. And I went, well, how do I get out of this one? My mother-in-law went to church with me. We actually attended a Pentecostal church. Walked in there with her, and I said, let's sit at the back. And we sat at the back, and actually my husband was with me too. And we're all praying, and my husband was speaking in tongues, and I'm thinking, this guy is crazy. These guys are nuts in here. We left the church service. You know, I kind of felt a little good after that. And then after a while I started, you know, thinking there's got to be more to life than crappy diapers, because I had a set of twins and had a lot of 3 kids in diapers. And I remember saying, Jesus, if you're for real, jump out in front of me. That was my prayer. There was not too much of it. Little by little I started reading the Bible. And I remember my girlfriend had phoned one day, broad daylight, and she said, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm just, you know, reading the Bible, whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking out the window. Curtains were drawn. I was looking in the sky. And I saw, the only way to describe it is like looking at a ghost. I was looking in the sky, and I knew it was Jesus. I could see through him. He was huge. And I was walking up towards him. I was about halfway. And he had his hands over me, just like that. I wasn't thinking nothing of it. And I talked to Wendy a bitch an hour on the phone, and all the time I'm talking to her, I saw this vision or whatever. And hung up the phone, said goodbye to her. Said goodbye to her, hung up the phone. The next day my husband got home, and I said, totally forgot about this vision, right? And then it came back to my mind, and I said, you know what I made up or seen or whatever? And he said, well, Marlene, you had a vision. And he said, that was Jesus. And I said, well, I knew it was Jesus. I just didn't know what that meant. And he said, it means he's blessing you. And no word of a lie, the Spirit of God spoke to me just instantly in that second. He said, you asked me to jump out in front of you. If you're for real, Jesus should jump out in front of me. He says, I jumped out in front of you and you didn't even recognize it. Well, can you imagine? I just kind of stopped there, and my faith started growing, and I started reading the Bible, and I'll tell you what, I started changing. How do I describe the way I was before? I was so full of bitterness before I gave my heart to the Lord. I had so much hate in me. I had so many anger issues. I was deep issues, and I just didn't trust anybody. I was so full of bitterness. And then when I gave my heart to the Lord, it was like I loved everybody. I mean, my eyes were open. I loved everybody, the Word of God. I would read the Bible. I couldn't keep my eyes out of the Bible. I would be cooking supper. I'd be reading the Bible. And my prayers, I would pray, and they'd be instantly answered. And it was just like, wow, this thing is for real. I'll tell you what, anybody that came in contact with me got it. They got the gospel. I don't know how many people got saved through me. Quite a few did. Because I would witness to them. And you know, like, it was such a change for my family of origin, the non-Christians. Like, I was only way to describe it, I was like an F-you person. And then changed to I love you. Well, they were scared of me after that. But anyway, the persecution started, and they tried everything, I mean everything, to stop me from going to church and reading the Bible and stuff like that. And it wouldn't work. There was such a change in my heart or whatever. He was my life, and it was just so incredible, the change in me and the reality that he was real. So the Lord led me to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, and I started reading it, and the first line, love is patient, love is kind. I read that, and the Lord spoke to me. He said, you're to give patience and kindness to him, you're to give patience and kindness to others, and you're to give patience and kindness to yourself. And I'm like, well, I have no problem being patient and kind with others. And I could kind of be patient and kind with God, but patient and kind with me? No, that was kind of a hard one, right? And then you go on in Corinthians and it says, love does not demand its own way, and I thought, oops. There are so many times in my past I demanded my own way. And it was so clear, I love these people, I was demanding my own way. Love is not rude. Oops. There was a lot of times I was rude to people. Not all the time, but there was times I was rude. And then love doesn't hold grudges. Oops. There's another one. And like you took me through all of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, and like there's 3 things that remain: love, what is it? Love, faith, and hope. And the greatest of these is love. The Lord said to me that I have to start practicing this and showing people his love. And now, to this day, I can honestly tell you, I totally can love people, truly love them. Love is patient, love is kind. I'm patient with God, I'm kind with God. I can even love my enemies. They might not be able to receive it, but I can love them. It's because they can't love themselves. And, if we do practice this love chapter every day in our life, we'll have the joy of the Lord. So that's it.